What is good, everybody? Man, it's your boy Jay in the building. We is back again with another video. Now, before we get this video started, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you guys share this video. Whew. Alright, now, if y'all see the title of this video, then you already know what's about to happen, man. We have the HBCU all-decade team for the 2000s and the 2010s. Now, when I say HBCUs, this is for SWAC, MEAC, SIAC, CIAA, North Carolina A&T, and Tennessee State, all combined. Everybody is included in this. Like, I'm talking about every HBCU football related that's known to man are all on this list. And I wanted to put emphasis on that because I know Tennessee State don't really get talked about because they're not in the MEAC or they're not in the SWAC. And, you know, and Division II teams get left off because they're not Division I. So this list includes everybody. I left no stone unturned when it came to this list right here. So I'm not gonna lie to y'all, man. This list was kind of one of the hardest lists I could have ever put together. I'm talking about ever put together, because it requires a lot of thinking and it requires some judgment, honestly. Like, some of the players on here are no-brainers, and then a lot of them you had to think about, because I had to use process of elimination when it came to this list, because everybody couldn't be on the list. Of course, I could have done a whole bunch of names to put as an honorable mention, but I don't have the honorable mentions in here because I know it's going to be some backlash from people who they think should be on the list that ain't on the list. But I think that's the beauty of lists, because there is a lot of people that do deserve to be on it but are left off of it because there's so many people that deserve to be on here. So before I give y'all this list, I just want to give y'all like my criteria for the people who should be on the list. Now, my criteria entails that you have to have played in a decade for at least 2 years. And I go by the accolades, I go by the stats, and you have to have played everything that you did outside of your HBCU. I don't count it. Like, say for instance, you played 2 years. You played 2 years for Alabama A&M or whatever, but then you transfer to Toledo or Colorado or any other school outside of an HBCU, and you get an All-American over there, and you get first team all-conference over there. I don't count it. I only go by what you did for an HBCU. Now say for instance, right? You played in 08 and 09, and you probably got a second team all conference or whatever, and you probably only played 4 games your freshman year, and you started your sophomore year. But then in 2010 and 2011, you got two first team all conferences, got an All-American. I'm not going off of. I may put you on the all-decade team for the 2010s, but I'm not gonna do you. But I went by what you did in 2010 and 2011, not what you did in 08 and 09. So, without further ado, man, let's go ahead and get this list started. All right, so, okay, hold on. And how I have it is I have 2 quarterbacks, so it's almost like a first and second team. How it is presented, like how y'all see the all SWAC, all MEAC, how that's presented. That's how I'm presenting this list with the all-decade team, right? So, here you go. All right, so for my quarterbacks in the 2000s, I have Bruce Eugene from Grambling State, and I have Robert Kent from Jackson State. Those are my 2 quarterbacks. I actually watched both of them guys, man, not like on TV, like on the BET football. Like, I used to watch them guys all the time, man. Yeah, them boys is really legit. All right, so those are my 2 quarterbacks. My 4 running backs. I have Charles Anthony from Tennessee State. I have Javarius Williams from Tennessee State as well. I have Alonzo Coleman from Hampton, and I have Isaac Redmond from Bowie State. Now, I almost played against Isaac Redmond. I think he graduated by the time I went to Livingstone. And boy, let me tell you, I'm absolutely so happy and relieved that I never got a chance to see that man play in person. Cause Lord, he broke a school record. I think he ran for like over 300 yards on like 20 something carries, and it was against Livingstone. So thank God that I wasn't there to witness that, man. So yeah, I have those 4 as my running backs. And my 4 receivers, I have Jacoby Jones from Lane College. I have Eric Weems from Bethune-Cookman. I have Tremont Douglas from Grambling State. And I have Shahir McBride from Delaware State. I think he has the school record for, I think he still holds the record for the most catches for a career and the most yards, and I think the most receiving touchdowns. I think he might be top 5 in receiving touchdowns. Jacoby Jones, man, rest in peace to him. Legend. I was absolutely surprised he ain't played D1, honestly, by the way he was dominant. But yeah, that's my 4 receivers. For my tight ends, I have Steve Farmer from Tennessee State, and I have Chris Cash from Morgan State. Now for my, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, my offensive lineman was probably the hardest, because I didn't know if I wanted to do tackle, guard, and center, or I just went with the just best offensive lineman how I wanted to do that. So I honestly just went with the 10 best offensive linemen, period. Now I really didn't separate it with guard, tackle, and center. I just went with the best linemen. So I have Raymond Harrison from South Carolina State. I have Robert Lewis from Alabama A&M. I have Johnny Carbruth from South Carolina State. I have Cornelius Lewis from Hampton. I have Brandon Torrey from Howard. I have Robert Duncan from North Carolina Central. I have Gary Jenkins from Southern. I have Jelani Clement from Hampton. I have Censio Newton from Tennessee State. And I have Larry Mavilia from Grambling. I think that's how you say his name. I have Larry from Grambling. And I think his father also played at Grambling State, if I'm not mistaken. I believe so. But that's my offense. And then now I'll move on to the defensive side of things. And I did the same thing for the defensive linemen and DBs as well. I just went with the 8 best defensive linemen instead of just splitting it as DN, tackle, or nose guard, something like that. I just went with the 8 best defensive linemen. And then for the same thing with the secondary, I really didn't go by corner and safety. I just went with the 8 best secondary, or the 8th best defensive backs. So for my D lineman, I have Robert Mathis from Alabama A&M, and Robert Mathis might be one of the best defensive players to come from an HBCU, period, let alone part of the decade. Robert Mathis. I have Steve Baggs from Bethune-Cookman. I have I think I'm gonna say his name. Ardante. I think that's how you say it. Ardante. Dawson from Alabama A&M. I have Jeremy Maddox. Jeremy Maddox from Alabama A&M. Yo, I think two of them play together, or at least I don't know if all three of them played, but Alabama A&M was notorious for defense, so Alabama A&M was really good back in the day, and they still are. I have Ricky Lewis from North Carolina A&T. I have Justin Lawrence from Morgan State. I have Kendall Langford from Hampton. And I have Lewis Ellis from Shaw University. Dog. Now, I was there when Shaw Lewis played against us. I think he was a senior and I was a freshman. And I think we had him. I think we was down 20-0 at our homecoming. How stupid of us for Livingstone to schedule Shaw for a homecoming, knowing damn well how good Shaw used to be back in the day. Now, I don't know what happened with Shaw now, but Shaw back then used to be scary as hell. And I think he's a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year as a nose guard, as a nose tackle. That's how good. I think he got. I don't know if he ever got drafted, but I know he got signed to an NFL team somewhere. But yeah, this dude was an absolute menace. They had a defense full of dogs. But that dude right there, yeah, Lewis Ellis was absolutely legit. So all right, so the linebackers. My linebackers, I have Justin Durant from Hampton. I have Tracy White from Howard. I have Walter Reese from Tennessee State. I have Kevin Tolley from Norfolk State. I have Albert Gamble from Morgan State. And I have Kevin Jones from St. Augustine. For my DBs, I have Rashawn Mathis from Bethune-Cookman. Dominique Rogers-Camardi from Tennessee State. I have Anton Betha from Howard. I have Engine Clifford from Tennessee State. I have Tyrone Parsons from Alcorn State. I have Bobby Williams from Bethune-Cookman. I have Leroy. I'm sorry, Leroy. I have Levy Brown from FAMU, and I have Sam Smith from Delaware State. That's my 8 best defensive backs. And what's cool about this list is I also have the special teams on this list. So for my kickers, I have Andrew Paterni. I think that's how I said. Paterni from Hampton. I have Jeremy Lacia from Alabama A&M. Those are my 2 kickers. And for my punters, I have David Beckford from Alabama State. And I have Frank Ziegler from South Carolina State. And for my return guys, I have Jeremy Mathis from Hampton, and I have Leroy Vane from FAMU. That's my all-decade team from the 2000s. I'll put the list up again so you guys can see it, but that's my full list. And I'm gonna get on with the 2010s now. And listen, y'all see how fast we move on for this video? I like it that way. So, for my quarterbacks, and a lot of y'all might be upset with this one. Matter of fact, I think y'all just gonna be upset with the whole 2010s list, because this one was a lot more difficult to do. But for 2010s, my quarterback, I have Greg McKee from Howard, and I have Amir Hall from Bowie State. Those are my quarterbacks from the 2010s. All right. Now for my running backs, I have Tariq Cohen from North Carolina A&T. I have Leonard Tillery from Southern. I have Isaiah Caldwell from Alabama State, and I have Jordan Bentley from Alabama A&M. I think that might have been the easiest group to do because all four of those guys was absolutely dominant, and especially Tariq Cohen. If y'all ever saw Tariq Cohen play in the Celebration Bowl, yeah, he was really that. For my wide receivers, I have Chris Rowland from Tennessee State. I have Twan Mixon from Hampton. I have Kyle Anthony from Howard, and I have Lee Doss from Southern. Yeah. Chris Rowland, I think he ended up getting drafted to the Falcons, I believe. But yeah, him and dog, he was a monster. For my tight ends, I have AC Leonard from Tennessee State, and I have Jordan Payne from Alcorn State. My two tight ends right there. And for my offensive linemen, I have Brandon Parker from North Carolina A&T. I have Kadeem Edwards from Tennessee State. I have Matthew Reese from Tuskegee. I have Carl Jones from North Carolina Central. I have Jamal Johnson from Alabama A&M. I have Victor Temba from Bowie State. Yes. I have Timothy Gardner from Alcorn State. I have Titus Howard from Arkansas Pine Bluff. I have Teron Armstead also from Pine Bluff as well. And I have Dontarnio Dade from Alcorn State. Now moving on to the defensive side of things. I think this one right here, no brainer. Javon Hargrave from South Carolina State. I think that's a no brainer. Darlin Johnson from North Carolina A&T. That's also no brainer. Marquise Ford from Bethune-Cookman. Justin Blash from Albany State. Javancy Jones from Jackson State. I have Dorian Moody from Alcorn State. I have Marcus Ragland from North Carolina A&T, and I have Grover Stewart from Albany State. Now, this one right here, this linebackers, this one was the hardest, because I think for the linebackers, I had like 13, 14 names, and that was, I actually redid that one about 3 or 4 times because how hard it was, because I knew I was going to make somebody upset. I was leaving people off, but yeah, for the linebackers. But this one, these first two was the easiest. First two, I have Darius Leonard from South Carolina State, Deion King from Northwest State. I think those two were like pretty easy to really spot. I have Keith Pogg from Howard. I have Rico Consul from Tennessee State. I have London Trail from Norfolk State. And I have Delbert Tyler from Hampton. That's my 6 best linebackers, and I know it's tough. I know it was completely tough, because I left a lot of names off on this list that should have been on this list, but couldn't put them there. All right, and for my secondary guys, man, I have Matt McCain III from North Carolina A&T. I have Quantario Cole from Alcorn State. I think he's playing in the XFL now, if I'm not mistaken. God, I saw him. I have Dylan Hamilton from Alabama A&M. I have Micah Parolin from Hampton. I also have Mike Jones from North Carolina Central. I think you say Devontae Reynolds from North Carolina Central. I have Edward Kirkland from Benedict. And I have Carlos Thomas from Johnson C. Smith. I think I actually watched him play whenever they played against Livingstone, and when I first noticed about him is this dude's a ball hog. I think he had 2 seasons where he had over 10 interceptions. Well, at least the first season where he was at Johnson Smith, he had like 12, 13 interceptions, and he continued that trend his last 2 years. Dude was an absolute ball hog. So, yep, Carlos Thomas from Johnson C. Smith, absolutely. All right, and for my kickers, I have Lane Clark from Tennessee State, and I have Antonio Zeta from Tennessee State as well. Now for my punters, I have Kristen Kinney from Hampton, and I have Chris Fendel from FAMU. Those are my punters. And for my 2 return specialists, I have Chris Rowland from Tennessee State, and I have Mike Jones from North Carolina Central. Yeah, so thank God that this list is finally over. Thank God I don't have to think about this city board, but I do have to say, man, that this list was fun to do. This list was absolutely fun to do, man. And let me tell y'all this, man. Thank y'all if y'all like, if y'all dislike it, if you comment on it. Y'all let me know what y'all think. And I really do appreciate y'all for supporting the channel. I'm going to give it about 24 to 48 hours before I do absolutely put this list out. And I can't wait. And y'all know we got a few weeks before football season is here. Thank goodness. So once again, man, I appreciate y'all for supporting this channel, and God bless y'all.